Hey guys, OG Albino here, bringing you guys my APA Academy Week 10 battle against MidPokeMaster and his Kentucky Torracats. Looking to bounce back this week after picking up a pretty rough loss last week to the Sacremento Nidokings and our buddy Itz. This is a very, very important win for us. Despite losing last week, we still do have a pretty decent shot at making playoffs. If we can do well with this final these final 3 games and win at least 2 of our next 3, a pretty good shot. If we win 3 out of our next 3, this game and the upcoming 2, we have a really good shot of pretty much guaranteeing a spot. So these are very important. So we definitely went in and prepped this week, and I think we built a pretty good team and a team that has a shot to win. That being said, Mid does have a very scary team, very scary Rain offense. Rain is always very finicky and hard to play around. While you know it's usually coming and what kind of sets are usually coming, that still doesn't mean it's any less potent and just terrifying in all honesty. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into the team builder portion. Like I said, we're going up against Mid and his Kentucky Torracats. His team consists of the Tornadus T, Ferrothorn, Raikou, Haxorus, Chandelure, Umbreon, Zoroark, Pelipper, Ludicolo, Kabutops, and Swampert. While our team consists of the Landers Therian, Starmie, Scolipede, Florges, Chestnut, Uxie, Steelix, Jordagon, Lycanroc Dusk, Mega Glalie, and Rapidash. So right off the bat, the biggest threats to me, in my personal opinion, number 1 is that Tornadus T. It kind of just clicks Hurricane versus me, and not having to worry about accuracy is pretty terrifying. It has a good amount of coverage for pretty much everything on my team. My flying resist is a Lycanroc Dusk and a Steelix, which, to be fair, it can't really run Heat Wave very safely versus me, but it can pretty easily just run Focus Blast instead, or Superpower, most likely Focus Blast. I could see a mixed set coming potentially, but I do think it'll be specially based or specially biased or something like that. But yeah, that is definitely going to be the biggest threat to us. Another very threatening mon to us is potentially like a Calm Mind Raikou. It outspeeds everything on our team, even the Scolipede before it gets a boost. So that can be pretty terrifying. Just honestly, just like a Calm Mind 3 attacks, maybe with like a Shuckle Berry or something like that. I could definitely see that coming, being very scary. The Chandelure can be a bit terrifying. The Haxorus, if we let it set up, is obviously a big threat. And Ferrothorn is an absolute pain to break outside of Rain, and inside of Rain, it makes it almost impossible. Our fighting type isn't necessarily super offensive, and we can't rely on fire coverage as easily, if Rain is going to be up, and I definitely think the Rain offense is coming this week. We do have ways around it, which we'll get into. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into the first mon, which is going to be our Lycanroc Dusk here, rocking out with the Focus Sash and Tough Claws abilities, Stone Edge, Accelerock, Stealth Rock, and Endeavor. 36 HP, 252 attack, and 220 speed. Very simple set. This is going to be our designated lead 150% of the time. Sash Endeavor is really cool in this matchup because, if he does, go into his Ferrothorn as a response to this thing, because his rock resists are honestly pretty limited. I believe he has the Tornadus and the Pelipper. So that's, the dual flying definitely doesn't appreciate his Stone Edge. Nothing on his team really appreciates a Stone Edge at all, other than the Ferrothorn. So I can definitely see him going into that. And if we can catch a thing with an Endeavor as it brings us down to our Sash, even if it's rough skin, obviously knocks us out or something like that, that'd be absolutely amazing. I'm completely fine with trading Lycanroc for that 100% of the time. So yeah, that is going to be our Lycanroc. Its job is to get up rocks. His removal is the Tornadus, which I don't think wants to fit it this week, and the Pelipper, which we pressure immensely. Pelipper has to come because of the Rain, but other than that, I think it matches up pretty bad against us. We threaten it like crazy, and we can obviously outspeed and knock that thing out with Stone Edge with a little bit of chip, or depending on his spread. We still hit things considerably hard, even though we are pretty much a suicide lead. So yeah, that's going to be our Lycanroc. Next up is our Mega Glalie right here. Glalie, obviously, refrigerated ability, Ice Shard, Freeze Dry, Earthquake, and Double Edge, 244 attack, 28 special attack, and 236 speed with a naive nature. This Pokemon is amazing against him. It 2-taps everything. The Ice Shard priority is amazing for things like a setup Haxorus or a weakened Tornadus, things like that. And his Ice Resist literally just everything gets 2-tapped by Double Edge, even the Ferrothorn. That's why we're running that over something like Frustration or Return. It pretty much always does that unless he's very, very, very physically defensive, and if I will take that damage on it 100% of the time. Like I said, it's very hard for our team to break, and we need it to be weakened for our main win con to win this week. And the 28 special attack actually guarantees us an OHKO on no HP Mega Swampert with Freeze Dry. We also always knock out Pelipper and Ludicolo and stuff like that, so Freeze Dry is another really cool move on this mon, hopefully to catch him off guard, because, you know, those mons could potentially take a hit from Glalie and potentially revenge it or do something like that with it. So I definitely think that is worthwhile. And then the 236 speed is enough for Haxorus. You know, if it doesn't get set up yet, we obviously do a tremendous amount with the Double Edge or Freeze Dry, and then if it is set up, we have Ice Shard, so with a little bit of chip, we knock that thing out. So yeah, that's going to be our Mega Glalie this week. Amazing breaker in this match. Next up, we have our check to his Physical Rain offense in our Chestnut, rocking out with the leftovers Bulletproof ability, Drain Punch, Seed Bomb, Toxic, and Synthesis, 252 attack, 244 defense, and 12 speed with an Impish nature. We're pretty much just going max Fizz Def. There's no reason to be finicky with EVs this week. We threw 12 speed in there for potential creeps, because there are some of his slower mons that can potentially, you know, want to outspeed Chestnut by 1 point, and having just, you know, to potentially avoid that if we can would be really, really cool. His physical offense doesn't break this thing at all. Physically, he can't break it at all. He does have double flying, which is pretty scary. But if we can catch Torn with a Toxic, that kind of limits its Regenerator, Pivoting, Annoyance. And Pelipper we can chip and put it into range where it needs to boost or something like that. And I think we can take advantage of both those guys pretty well. Less so the Torn, more so the Pelipper I'm not very worried about. But yeah, everything else in his team, nothing can really one-shot this. It's very, very annoying, and it deals with things like the Swampert very, very well. We're never 2-hit KO by Adamant Ice Punch. Kabutops gets access to Aerial Ace, but it's only doing around 50-ish%, and we obviously knock that thing out with Seed Bomb or Drain Punch if it's in range and a little bit weakened. His team just doesn't appreciate Chestnut at all. It's a very, very annoying mon. I really wanted to fit Leech Seed onto this set, but I figured Toxic would be nicer for the Tornadus, as it's a likely pivot into this thing, a good amount of the time. So yeah, that's going to be our Chestnut right there. Next up, we have our Florges with the leftovers, Flower Availability, Wish, Moonblast, Heal Belt, and Protect, 252 HP, 98 defense, 4 special attack, 148 special defense, 12 speed with a calm nature. So the 12 speed, just like Chestnut, is to creep any creeps that he may want to go for on their Florges, just if we can catch the thing and potentially outspeed it. We are actually never too... This is going to be our Tornadus check, the best thing we have to it. Hoping he's not AZ move Tornadus. But this specific spread with the 148 calm and max HP, we're never 2-hit KO'd after rocks by Life Orb Sludge Wave. It's a great Cleric this week. It's a great Wish Passer for things like Chestnut, potentially things like our Mega Glalie if it's taking a lot of chip from the Double Edge and stuff like that. So definitely a very important member in checking that Tornadus. So next up, we have our Wincon and our Landorus Therian, rocking out the Flying EMZ, Intimidate ability, Earthquake, Rock Polish, Stone Edge, and Fly. 188 HP, 132 attack, and 188 speed with an Adamant nature. This thing, look at his team, and it just bodies his entire team with a little bit of chip. And, if we can potentially get a Rock Polish up, it is tough to get a Rock Polish up against his team, being that his raid offense, a lot of his team can hit us very, very hard. But Landorus is naturally bulky enough, and I believe if we position ourselves correctly, we can definitely, hit something, get up a Rock Polish and potentially win late game if we get a little bit of chip. Z-Fly is an absolute nuke. His flying resists are all, bought by Earthquake, so they're not really reliable switch-ins. And it's great if we don't want to risk a Stone Edge miss on something like the Pelipper and the Tornadus, or if we want to hit the Ludicolo or something like that, because that is the only thing we don't hit super effectively with this set. I think I could be completely wrong. What else wouldn't we hit super effectively? Things like the Zoroark and the Umbreon, I guess. So there is things he can that can kind of pivot into this, but again, he does need some, we do need a little bit of chip, and this thing can just absolutely go in if we position it correctly. The HP we are running is enough to live an Icy Wind from a Tornadus Therian after rocks, and we can live an HP Ice, before rocks 100% of the time, and it's a roll, I believe. I don't remember in whose favor it is to live it after rocks, but it is a prime member for us to potentially get up a Rock Polish on in this game. And the 188 speed is for a Swampert outside of rain. Admittedly, I probably should have crept Kabutops, but I expected Swampert much more than I expected Kabutops to come, so I end up not really creeping that. So depending even if he's like running Adamant, I believe he can potentially outspeed us. I don't remember off the top of my head. I know we're for sure not creeping Jolly Kabutops under the rain, or outside of it for that matter. So hopefully that doesn't come into play. I realized that after jetting the team, I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's not the right speed stat. But, granted, we didn't really want to lose any bulk or any power on this thing because, we want this thing to potentially win late game and not so much worry about, tanking hits and things like that. So yeah, on to the last member of the team is going to be our Starmie, rocking out with the Choice Scarf, Analytic Ability, Surf, Hidden Power Fire, Psyshock, and Thunderbolt, 100 HP, 180 Special Attack, and 228 Speed with a Timid nature. Nothing wants to switch into an Analytic Surf in the rain. Nothing on his team. Absolutely nothing can switch into this thing. It is a great revenge killer, outspeeds pretty much everything on his team. We can outpace a Swampert in the rain 100% of the time, which is very, very cool. We do still outspeed that. Again, I didn't creep Kabutops with this. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of overlooked Kabutops as a whole because I figure Swampert does what Kabutops does in this matchup, just a little bit better, in my opinion at least. So I ended up just kind of disregarding it. The 100 HP actually allows us to live an Adamant Swampert Earthquake after rocks, which is very cool, potentially. And we didn't really need any more special attack. This did have crazy form Movesaw Syndrome, for example. I really wanted Grass Knot for the Swampert in particular, but I figured having Hidden Power Fire instead, if we really need to hit that Ferrothorn hard and there is no rain up, or even if there is, we're still hitting it pretty decently hard if we do catch on a switch with like an Analytic HP Fire. That could be potentially very important. And Surf in the rain is still doing a chunk to the Swampert. We just need a little bit of chip on it and it's dropping. I think it's doing like 60-something min if he's no HP. So if he does, swap that in on us for some reason, it's pretty much dead after rocks to an Analytic Surf. But yeah, that's going to be the team. Let's jump right into the battle. Alright guys, here we are with the game. So looking at the team that mid-elective ring, looks like he went with the Torn T, Ferrothorn, Chandelure, Kabutops, Raikou, and Pelipper. So nothing too unexpected here, other than the fact that the Kabutops came, which, like I said in the team builder, I didn't really creep around this thing with my Landorus and my Starmie. So in rain, it actually outspeeds both of them, even though they are pretty much kind of like my speed control this game. And it outspeeds probably my Landorus outside if he is running like a Jolly set, or if he's running, a good amount of speed at all. So that is something we do have to take into account and be ready for. Other than that, like I said before, two biggest threats to me are definitely going to be that Torracats and that Raikou. I don't deal with them very well at all. I don't switch into them very well at all, so it is something we have to keep in mind and be ready for in this game. But with that being said, I am just going to lead off with my Lycanroc Dusk. Like I said before, its whole job is to literally get up Stealth Rocks and Endeavor something down and then die, and then give me a free switch into something else. As we're going to like I said, lead off that, as we see that he elects to lead off with the Tornadus Therian, which is a great lead for me because I don't think he wants to risk me being Scarf, or potentially honestly just not being able to knock me out, or me being Sash, because other than like Focus Blast or Z-Focus Blast, he can't knock us out. And the likelihood of us potentially being Sash or him missing or something like that is very, very real. So right here, he's going to pull the switch out into his Raikou, as I do just elect to get up my Stealth Rocks this turn. They were guaranteed rocks for me, and his only two removal this week are potentially the Pelipper, the Tornadus, and the Kabutops. I don't think Kabutops has room to fit spin this week. It needs a lot of different moves to hit everything. As right here, I'm just going to stay in and I'm going to attack what's in front of me, because like I said, this Raikou is terrifying versus me, as he shows us the substitute. Showing us that he is, probably some Sub-Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, something like that, just to hit the Landers and everything else on my team. And right here, he's just going to go straight for the Thunderbolt as I throw off another Stone Edge, and we get a pretty big chunk off on this Raikou, actually bringing him in range of the Accel Rock. And actually, if he did not sub before, he was outside of range of the Accel Rock potentially, but right here we actually are able to pick up the Raikou, which is definitely a huge threat to our team. So I will definitely take that as Lycanroc picks up the first kill of the game for us. As right here, he's going to go into the Ferrothorn, and like I said before, this is like best case scenario for me. I'm just going to throw off an Endeavor right here. Again, I'm totally fine with my Lycanroc going down if I can get a huge chunk on this thing, which we do end up doing as it goes straight for the Gyro Ball. taking out our Lycan Rock, but it did its job. It took out one of the big threats to our team, and it chipped one of the bigger annoyances to our team as well. Actually, to the point where he is definitely in range of a Mecha Glalie Double Edge. So right here, I'm going to go into that, and I'm just going to throw it off. Like I said before, he has 0.5 switch-ins to this monster, you know, and we can kind of just get our free Mega off and pick up a KO right here. Get Mega Glalie its first kill of the season. Just showing its raw power and stuff like that. As we are, you know, even if he's max Fizz Death, like I said, able to take him out with the double edge right here. So down goes the Ferrothorn. Game's looking very nice at this point. And the Ferrothorn goes down. So right here, if he Scarf Chandelure, he can potentially outspeed us, but everything else on his team is actually outsped by our Glalie at this point, other than the Tornadus, which he does elect to go into. And right here, I'm just going to go straight out into my Floridian, as it is my designated check to this thing. Again, I don't switch in well to it all, and he's not in range of an Ice Shard yet, unless he's like unless he's on minus defense nature, potentially. As we're going to see right here that he makes a really, really good play, and he pops the Steelium Z, I'm assuming Z Iron Tail, you know, for my Floridian. I believe Torn gets Iron Tail. If he was, you know, timid, you know, of minus attack nature, he actually never knocked us out with this, but this shows us that he is either, you know, a mixed attacker or full physical, because he is going to be able to knock us out. Again, very good play on Mid's part. He knew I couldn't really stay in with my Glalie, and even if I did, the Z Iron Tail probably knocked it out. So right here, I'm going to take this as my opportunity to go into my Landers, thinking maybe he's physical, and he doesn't have a move to hit me, especially if I intimidate him right here. And he's going to go for the knockoff right here, kind of showing that he doesn't have Hidden Power Ice or Icy Wind, as I'm going to set up the Rock Polish. And the knockoff is obviously going to do 0 damage to us, being that we are holding a Z Crystal. And then right here, I'm just going to throw off a Stone Edge, hoping I hit, as we do land the Stone Edge and we knock out the Tornadus. So things are looking great for us at this point. 2 biggest threat to us gone, biggest defensive hindrance to us gone as well. As he goes into the Pelipper right here, and opposed to risking the Stone Edge miss right here, because knowing me, I would miss them, I am going to just pop my Z-Fly. It always knocks out a defensive Pelipper after rocks, as he makes a good play and scouts for that, knowing his Pelipper is pretty important. And he goes into his Chandelure right here, seeing that it's kind of dead weight at this point. Even if it's Scarf, we outspeeded, I believe, at +2. So right here, we are just going to throw off the nice Flyinium Z, and this thing isn't living in any universe, you know, any of the attacks that we went for. So down goes the Chandelure in a minute once this go down. And at this point, we are looking in a phenomenal position. So the Pelipper does obviously drop at 50% to a Stone Edge from us, if he does elect to go into that, as we see that he does. So this is kind of tipping me off that maybe he's not running a lot of speed in his Kabutops, or he just doesn't think he can outspeed me, because Landers should, you know, naturally outspeed it. As we throw off the Stone Edge and we knock out the Pelipper, and right here, this game is pretty much sealed. Kabutops can't knock me out in any one hit, can't beat the rest of my team at all. Eventually he's going to run out of rain, so no matter what, we're going to end up winning this game. It's just a matter of differential. I almost switched out right here just to see if he was faster, but I figured just taking the guaranteed win no matter what, in case he was like sub SD with some crazy Z move or something like that. But we actually end up outspeeding him, showing me that he probably wasn't running very much speed at all. And we're actually going to end up clean sweeping with our Rock Polish Lando, which was definitely its job this game. It came in, it got a Rock Polish up, and it just ran through this team. So I'm glad that we could kind of pull off a successful Lando sweep this week, opposed to last week where we got a bit greedy against Itz and set up too much. We found the correct opportunity this time. We got up the Rock Polish and we cleaned through. Did get a bit lucky. We hit all of our Stone Edges, which is awesome. Usually that doesn't happen to me, and I've been having a big stretch of bad luck lately, so this was a good step in the right direction. You know, karma and luck wise and stuff like that. But yeah, this does keep our playoff hopes very, very much alive. GG's to Mid. He definitely played this game well. The Torn T was a huge threat, and you know, the Iron Tail was a great bring, realizing that Forge was probably my best check to it. But yeah, next week we take on Steven and his Hartford Wailmers. Very, very good battler. You know, we've played him a few times before, and it's always a great game with him. And hopefully we can knock him off. He's having a great season. Hopefully we can pick up a dub against him, though, and solidify our chances in playoffs, because we play him, and then we play our buddy Curt the Buzzwole in week 12. So hopefully we can knock both of them off to guarantee our spot. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later.